Um, my name is Swati. Um, we've been continuing on the series of uh, Big Dreams, Smart Goals. Today we'll be talking about the concept where if our dreams and goals are dependent on other people's motivation also, how are we going to be progressing in life? Because whilst we can be a little strict with ourselves, we can discipline with ourselves, but aligning with others not necessarily is something which is possible all the time. So when dreams and goals are dependent on others, how do we execute our functioning? Um, Simple examples here to start with. We are all responsible for realizing our dreams. For realizing our dreams, we have to be having the right kind of goals so that they are relevant and achievable and take them on the path of our dreams. And lastly, we have to be motivated enough to be able to pursue them and achieve them. Motivation, a lot of times, while it is in our own hands, but having others motivated too becomes an equally important segment of progressing in the completion of our dreams. If you take up any sports stories, if you take up any movies, for example, we'll talk about Lagan a little. In the movie Lagan, Bhuvan, the character of Amir Khan, is the only one who decides that he is not going to bow down to the British. And while he doesn't bow down to the British, he will fight them back in a cricket match. Now, he does not know cricket. It's a village of people who are already going through a lot of problems. And in that, either that their Lagan will become double or their Lagan will become zero. That is the risk that only and only Bhuvan is willing to take. The only people supportive of his spirit here are his mother and his girlfriend. But if you go to see, because of the sense of purpose being high, the confidence being high, the faith to come back and say that I am not in the wrong. I don't know how right I can be, but I am not in the wrong. That confidence gets Bhuvan to progress slowly and steadily to continue and get everybody on his side. So not only the 11 players that are required to make a cricket team, but the villagers and people in the nearby villages and the king of that region. All of these people come together to support Bhuvan. So how did this happen? Bhuvan couldn't have won a cricket match alone. Similarly, there was a movie in 1957, Naya Daur, with Dilip Kumar, where Dilip Kumar decides that he will raise a tanga with a bus. And in that, again, none of the villagers are on his side. And he single handedly begins his working, and slowly and steadily, a group of people come together to execute that dream, to say that we will raise a tanga and a bus. Now, here, while we are saying that other people should be willing in order to be able to realize our goals and our dreams, we also need to recognize that one, we need to be respectful of the other person's choice, whether they want to be part of it or not. We don't need to try too hard to convince or to corrupt or to sell the idea that that person has to support you. You just have to believe in your idea and begin on the work that you are doing. Slowly and steadily, a group of people will begin to come together. The second is that we need to recognize that we constantly are not questioning ourselves or feeling lost and guilty. We need to progress, be perseverant, and continue on the path. And we will know that slowly and steadily answers will begin to happen. And the more answers begin to happen, other people who are required in that project will slowly and steadily come together. So in sports, it is very important to have a great coach to be able to deliver what you stand for. In any of the other things, the right kind of teaching, the right kind of books you read, the right kind of input. So we are constantly dependent on others for our growth. So any ego to come back and say that I will do it myself, that ego can also make others not become a part of the journey that we have taken for ourselves. So these become the prerequisites when we are dependent on others, the humility and the timing. So you might be wanting to achieve something, but not necessarily that the other person is in the same life space or bandwidth. So if that person is not able to become a part of your dream, do you become very negative, or are you able to wait for this person, or you are going to find somebody else with whom you can align to be able to achieve your goals? A lot of this thinking, if is done with a positive bend of mind, automatically the frustration of not being in sync with other people reduces. So the two things that we need for us to be able to progress in our goals is one, the chemistry that we share with the other person. And second, the rhythm and the timing we are able to pick up with the other person to be able to sync together and progress on the path of our goals. When we look at organizations for top level people continuously keeps doing training programs on understanding individual goals and aligning them with organizational goals, so that we know that when both of them come together is when the alignment will really propel the company forward. If the individual goals are different from the organizational goals, then we know that there is a point of time that comes that we have to drift and part ways and find the strength in our own selves. Similarly, in relationships, suppose your relationship goals are that you want to have a great relationship with somebody. In that, the definition of what is that you want to have great. You want to have better communication, you want to have better chemistry, you want to have better uh, comfort. If you have that definition in place and you're willing to walk 9 steps. Now, why am I saying 9 steps here? Walk one, I walk. The reason why I'm saying 9 steps here, again, visually can be understood very well when we are looking at cinema. When you're looking at a hero and a heroine saying that, okay, we might not be able to work, and they both begin to go their ways. When the hero is walking and the heroine turns around, she sees, oh, he's walking and maybe he's moved on. So I should just let that be. And when the hero moves, at that point of time, the heroine is walking and he feels that he should just let that situation be. Now, in films, what ends up happening is that there is some kind of an intervention. It could be divine, it could be the director's privilege. The hero heroine find that moment where they feel that they feel for each other and they want that togetherness. In real life, only and only when we walk 9 steps is when we'll be able to recognize that whether the other person is also making an effort or not. You cannot be walking 1 step and then looking out for the other person saying, is that person walking 1 step or not? Because we don't know how far that person is and what kind of a bridge do we need to make in this particular relationship. So why am I still saying that we'll walk 9 and all, not the 10th one? It's not coming from a place of ego. It's coming from a place of consent. If the other person does not see the alignment of your relationship, the way you look at that alignment, we need to be respectful of their dreams and their goals too, rather than constantly saying that, no, I have to achieve my goal and this person has to make it happen. So that consent becomes important. One might ask, then did I waste my time by walking 9 steps towards this person who doesn't have the same goals as I do? No, in the learning process of when we are walking 9 steps and whatever are the barriers in our own mind that we are breaking, the next attempts of our life will become a lot more accurate and a lot more faster. So there is no loss when we work towards our goals because you're motivated, you're working from a positive place. And while that goal might not be achievable, it is still a progress towards a goal. We'll take another example to talk about this. Suppose you're talking about having a baby. And for whatever medical reasons, the husband or the wife cannot have the baby. At that point of time, is your goal having the baby more important than having the baby only with each other in the conventional form more important? Once you recognize what your goal is, having the baby is more important, or no, we'll have a baby. If we don't have a baby, so be it, but it has to be with this person in a natural manner only. You accordingly will accept the other milestones that will come to life. But you can always move the milestone. You can use surrogacy, you can use adoption, you can use IVF treatment. So once the choice is made, and it is a respectful choice made by the two people involved in the uh, relationship, automatically the goals become easier to achieve. So when our goals are dependent on other people, I have to most importantly understand, am I coming from a selfish place, saying my goals and the other person is supposed to help me deliver it, or it's coming from a place of alignment of two people's goals, making the required modifications. Please note, I have used the word modifications and not compromise. Require the Make the required modifications and then progress on to achieving those goals together. While we can say other people are making me fail, I'm not able to be motivated or achieve what I want to achieve because of other people, we need to recognize that it is always easy. Look outside in the real world, look at a cinema being made. People from different walks of life, people with different abilities come together to be able to work towards a vision. Look at social work that happens, look at governments that are run. All organizations work on how to align your goals with other people and making the most out of that. So, dependence might not be the word we want to use here. As grown-ups, we might want to use the word interdependent. So the more interdependent our relationships are, I'm able to respect what the other person brings on the table. I value what I bring on the table. Automatically, that sense of respect and the alignment and the coordination will increase. It will increase our motivation. एक से भले दो, दो से भले चार. It will increase our motivation because group energy also adds to the momentum of working towards the common goals, and we can progress much faster. A little handicap that can come when our goals are dependent on people is when certain goals become extremely person centric. Uh, what I mean here is, suppose Vando, you are somebody who has a lot of intellectual goals to achieve. Books you want to read, people you want to visit, experiments you want to do, and you say that you are going to do it only with, suppose I'm a woman, so I'll do it only with my husband. If any such goal, I make it very centric to my husband, then these goals can become a little dependent on the readiness of my husband to be able to align with those goals. His goals could be very different. He could be in a phase where he is more in acquiring knowledge rather than experimentation. He could be in a phase where he's looking at more the economic goals of the family rather than investing a little time and saying that we can pursue a little moment for learning. So here, learning can be done with other people in other circumstances, and we don't need to tie this goal down to our spouse only. But at the same point, if we are looking at parenting as a concept, it becomes person specific. So here, the situation or the circumstance becomes very important. The age of the child and the timing that you have before the child outgrows that particular age automatically becomes the niche as to what brings those two people together, the two people who might be busy in other things, to bring it together, saying this will need to get prioritized. So you cannot say that you can do everything non person specific, but easily being able to bucket things that are person specific, for example, parenting, um, versus which are not person specific, for example, learning a new skill. If we bucket it better, automatically we will not sense a feeling of frustration and our motivation is not going to dip. So, staying motivated to achieve the goals, despite the fact that other people are aligned, we need to figure out the rhythm and the timing with that person. So, find the chemistry, find the rhythm, and go ahead with the right time, and all goals are possible to be achieved. At a last note, leaving you with a thought, dreams have to be realized, goals have to be achieved. So, this thing specifically that I'm talking about, when we have to align with others to be able to achieve something, I'm talking about goals and not necessarily dreams. So goals can be achieved because we consciously devise them to be specific, to be achievable, to be measurable, to be relevant, and to be time specific. So if you are aligning with other person, you know how much time you have to align with the other person. So today's session was specifically with reference to goals, and I will see you soon with how to deal with procrastination, which is not dependent on others, but how to deal with procrastination if my motivation keeps dipping in the process of my achievement. Thank you, and I'm going to see you soon.
Help Talks are daily health-related talks held at Health Education Library for People, Mumbai, India. For more information visit www.healthlibrary.com. Subscribe to Help Talks channel. Be better informed about your health.